Hello, folks. Welcome to another lesson on finding sources and using them effectively in your writing. This is by far the most important lesson we learn in ENG 110 because it's one you'll continue to use throughout college. The number one thing I want you to take away from this video is that APA format and documentation are hard. They don't come naturally for anyone. But knowing how to find resources to use to support our college writing is absolutely the main thing we need to remember. All research papers will have several things in common, and we always use APA here at Post, so we'll focus on that style. I'm going to put something up on the screen for you here. First is a cover page that gives specific information and a header on all pages with the page number in the upper right-hand corner. Note that styles and formats change periodically, so don't waste time memorizing the rules. Use the tools available to remind you where things go and what is included. The essay starts on a new page with the title repeated at the top. The references list also starts on a new page. Reference lists are always in alphabetical order with a hanging indent, plain double spacing, just like the rest of the document. Use a template if you're not great at formatting in Word. There is no shame in that. The library provides proper citations in all databases, which is a great incentive to use the library rather than websites. When citing websites, you must also be really confident that the information is reliable and you're responsible for using a current resource for citing websites in APA. End text citations with all information that is quoted, paraphrased, and summarized from research. There are no exceptions. What goes inside the parentheses will be determined by what comes first in the references entry plus the year, or in period, D period, if there's no year provided. Okay, so let's do some of this together. First, let's go to Unit 1 and collect the up-to-date APA template that Post has provided. So I'm going to stop sharing this. I'm going to go to our course. And Unit 1. Next, let's update the information on the cover page and get ready to do our own stuff. The next step is to find potential sources and place the APA citations on our references page. We're going to search for articles about a topic not on our list, mostly because I am not going to write part of your argument paper for you. However, it is a topic that we might use in a different class when making an argument. term limits for Congress. Like some of our topics, we will have to play around with search terms and try several things in order to get what we need. Uh-oh. For the sake of speed, we're just going to look at the first two that come up. Watch as I locate, copy, and paste the official APA citations into my document. Next, let's note what we will use for internal citations when citing these two sources. For the first one, and I'm going to type these in here, but these will disappear when we get done with the paper. Next, let's write a couple of short paragraphs. These will end up being in the body of the essay. I strongly suggest that just writing a rough thesis at the top and then focusing on the body of your essay. I will always wait until I'm done to really write my introduction and fine-tune the thesis to match what actually happens in the body. So first, my rough thesis. Next, I'm going to cover the quote unquote other side to build my ethos. So let's read the no section of Karras and Mulvaney's article first. And I'm going to leave this up here for a second so you can read it to yourselves. So here's my paragraph. Opponents of congressional term limits do make some valid points. Karras and Mulvaney, 2015, point out that many states have actually tried this, but have not seen any of the benefits that one might expect. Another benefit of term limits supposes that it would help dislodge incumbent white males and allow others to take their place. Karras and Mulvaney, 2015. In some cases, this did result in more women being elected at the state level, but Karras and Mulvaney report that was also happening in other states at the same time. In theory, term limits would benefit the country, but there is just not that much proof that trials have been successful in meeting those goals. Now let's read the yes section. Okay, let's look at my paragraph that came from there. One of the main arguments for term limits just really makes good sense. U.S. News Digital Weekly, Karras and Mulvaney, 2015, argues that a good practical consideration is simply that congressional representatives should be focusing on today's issues with today's concerns rather than considering what will happen to them down the road. And there's a quote, "For a lawmaker to act on the issue with the thought of obtaining a committee chairmanship 6 years from now is not conducive to addressing the problem now. Indeed, it may do the opposite. It is also unlikely that a senator up for re-election soon will be willing to do the right thing, even if it is unpopular with his or her constituents, because of the fear of losing the next election." So that's how we do it. Let's look back at these paragraphs for the balance of my own thoughts to those from my research. Note that nowhere did I write, I think, I believe, I read, I found. Everything is in that academic third person we hear so much about in writing. So this, I'm going to highlight it, is the research. In this paragraph, that is the research. So it's more research, more paraphrase than me. I'm now going to get rid of these because we don't want those. And this needs to be on its own page. And I have got the start of my essay. So my main advice is to slow down and do it right as you go. Many people try to go back and cite their sources later, but this can lead to disaster. With quotations, it's usually okay because those are easy to find. However, it's often easy to forget that we paraphrase something, and if we never go back and cite it, we have just committed plagiarism. Do your best on the argument papers, and please, please, please make use of the great help available through the library, tutoring, Grammarly, academic writing, and of course, me.